This is a day I've been looking forward to for 2.5 years. Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that changes everything. And Apple has been, well, first of all, one's very fortunate if you get to work on just one of these in your career. Apple's been very fortunate. It's been able to introduce a few of these into the world. In 1984, we introduced the Macintosh. It didn't just change Apple, it changed the whole computer industry. In 2001, we introduced the first iPod. And it didn't just change the way we all listen to music. It changed the entire music industry. Well, today, we're introducing 3 revolutionary products of this class. The first one is a widescreen iPod with touch controls. The second is a revolutionary mobile phone. And the third is a breakthrough internet communications device. So, 3 things: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communications device. An iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator. An iPod, a phone. Are you getting it? These are not 3 separate devices. This is one device. And we are calling it iPhone. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. And here it is. No. Actually, here it is, but we're going to leave it there for now. So, before we get into it, let me talk about a category of things. The most advanced phones are called smartphones, so they say. And they typically combine a phone plus some email capability, plus they say it's the internet, sort of the baby internet, into one device. And they all have these plastic little keyboards on them. And the problem is that they're not so smart and they're not so easy to use. So if you kind of make a Business School 101 graph of the smart axis and the easy to use axis, phones, regular cell phones are kind of right there. They're not so smart and they're not so easy to use. But smartphones are definitely a little smarter, but they actually are harder to use. They're really complicated. Just for the basic stuff, people have a hard time figuring out how to use them. Well, we don't want to do either one of these things. What we want to do is make a leapfrog product that is way smarter than any mobile device has ever been and super easy to use. This is what iPhone is. Okay? So, we're going to reinvent the phone. Now, we're going to start with a revolutionary user interface. Is the result of years of research and development. And, of course, it's an interplay of hardware and software. Now, why do we need a revolutionary user interface? I mean, here's 4 smartphones, right? Motorola Q, the BlackBerry, Palm Treo, Nokia E62, the usual suspects. And what's wrong with their user interfaces? Well, the problem with them is really sort of in the bottom 40 there. It's this stuff right here. They all have these keyboards that are there whether you need them or not to be there. And they all have these control buttons that are fixed in plastic and are the same for every application. Well, every application wants a slightly different user interface, a slightly optimized set of buttons just for it. And what happens if you think of a great idea 6 months from now? You can't run around and add a button to these things. They're already shipped. So what do? It doesn't work because the buttons and the controls can't change. They can't change for each application, and they can't change down the road if you think of another great idea you want to add to this product. Well, how do you solve this? It turns out we have solved it. We solved it in computers 20 years ago. We solved it with a bitmap screen that could display anything we want, put any user interface up, and a pointing device. We solved it with the mouse, right? We solved this problem. So how are we going to take this to a mobile device? Well, what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant screen. Now, how are we going to communicate this? We don't want to carry around a mouse, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, a stylus, right? We're going to use a stylus. No. No. Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus. We're going to use the best pointing device in the world. We're going to use a pointing device that we're all born with. We're born with 10 of them. We're going to use our fingers. We're going to touch this with our fingers. And we have invented a new technology called multi-touch, which is phenomenal. It works like magic. You don't need a stylus. It's far more accurate than any touch display that's ever been shipped. It ignores unintended touches. It's super smart. You can do multi-finger gestures on it. And boy, have we patented it. So, we've been very lucky to have brought a few revolutionary user interfaces to the market in our time. First was the mouse. The second was the click wheel. And now we're going to bring multi-touch to the market. And each of these revolutionary user interfaces has made possible a revolutionary product. The Mac, the iPod, and now the iPhone. So, a revolutionary user interface. We're going to build on top of that with software. Now, software on mobile phones is like baby software. It's not so powerful. And today, we're going to show you a software breakthrough. Software that's at least 5 years ahead of what's on any other phone. Now, how do we do this? Well, we start with a strong foundation. iPhone runs OS X. Now, why would we want to run such a sophisticated operating system on a mobile device? Well, because it's got everything we need. It's got multitasking. It's got the best networking. It already knows how to power manage. We've been doing this on mobile computers for years. It's got awesome security and to write apps. It's got everything from Cocoa and the graphics, and it's got core animation built in, and it's got the audio and video that OS X is famous for. It's got all the stuff we want, and it's built right in to iPhone. And that has let us create desktop-class applications and networking, right? Not the crippled stuff that you find on most phones. This is real desktop-class applications. Now, you know, one of the pioneers of our industry, Alan Kay, has had a lot of great quotes throughout the years. And I ran across one of them recently that explains how we look at this, explains why we go about doing things the way we do, because we love software. And here's the quote. people who are really serious about software should make their own hardware. You know? Alan said this 30 years ago, and this is how we feel about it. And so we're bringing breakthrough software to a mobile device for the first time. It's 5 years ahead of anything on any other phone. Third thing I want to talk about a little is design. We've designed something wonderful for your hand. Just wonderful. And this is what it looks like. It's got a 3.5-inch screen on it. It's really big. And it's the highest resolution screen we've ever shipped. It's 160 pixels per inch. Highest we've ever shipped. It's gorgeous. And on the front, there's only one button down there. We call it the home button. It takes you home from wherever you are. And that's it. Now, we've also got some stuff you can't see. We've got 3 really advanced sensors built into this phone. The first one is a proximity sensor. It senses when physical objects get close. So when you bring iPhone up to your ear to take a phone call, it turns off the display and it turns off the touch sensor instantly. Well, why do you want to do that? Well, 1, to save battery, but 2, so you don't get spurious inputs from your face into the touch screen. Just automatically turns them off, take it away, boom, it's back on. So it's got a proximity sensor built in. It's got an ambient light sensor as well. We sense the ambient lighting conditions and adjust the brightness of the display to match the ambient lighting conditions. Again, better user experience, saves power. And the third thing we've got is an accelerometer, so that we can tell when you switch from portrait to landscape. It's pretty cool. I'll show it to you in a minute. So 3 advanced sensors built in. Let's start with the iPod. You can touch your music. You can just touch your music. It's so cool. You've got a widescreen video. You can find your music even faster. Gorgeous album art on this display. Built-in speaker, and why not? Cover flow. First time ever on an iPod. And so rather than talk about this some more, let me show it to you. Now here I am. You can see 5 buttons across the bottom. Playlists, artists, songs, videos, and more. I'm in artists right now. Well, how do I scroll through my list of artists? How do I do this? I just take my finger and I scroll. That's it. Isn't that cool? A little rubber banding up when I run off the edge. I was giving a demo to somebody a little while ago who'd never seen this before inside Apple. And I finished the demo. I said, "What do you think?" They told me this. He said, "You had me at scrolling." So, the iPhone with the most amazing iPod ever, you can now touch your music. So that's the iPod. Now, let's take a look at a revolutionary phone. We want to reinvent the phone. Now, what's the killer app? The killer app is making calls. It's amazing. It's amazing how hard it is to make calls on most phones. Most people actually dial them every time. Most people don't have very many numbers in their address book. They use their recents as their address book, right? How many of you do that? I bet more than a few. So we want to let you use contacts like never before. You can sync your iPhone with your PC or Mac and bring down all your contacts right into your phone. So you've got everybody's numbers with you at all times. We have something that's going to revolutionize voicemail today. We call it visual voicemail. Wouldn't it be great if you had 6 voicemails, if you didn't have to listen to 5 of them first before you wanted to listen to the 6th? Wouldn't that be great if you had random access voicemail? Well, we've got it. Just like email, you can go directly to the voicemails that interest you. I could turn on a speakerphone like this if I wanted to.
Hello, Steve.
Hey, Johnny, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Well, it's been 2.5 years, and I can't tell you how thrilled I am to make the first public phone call with iPhone. I remember when we first started working on this, and it's just unbelievable. Whoa, what is this? I've got another call coming in. Johnny, can I put you on hold for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I put Johnny on hold, and hi, Phil.
Oh, Steve, I wanted to be the first call.
Sorry, Phil. As you can see, it's put Johnny on hold, and Phil, I can just touch Johnny, and bring Johnny back. Hey, Johnny, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, listen, Phil called. Do you mind if I conference him in?
I guess so.
You can see the button has changed to merge calls right there in the middle, so I just pushed that right here, and now I've created a conference call. Johnny, you there?
I'm here.
Phil, you there?
Oh, still hanging on.
So here we are. And listen, I got to get back to my keynote. So if I want to do that, what I'm going to do, I just touch this arrow right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take Johnny private here and put Phil on hold. Johnny, do you have anything to say on the first phone call?
It's not too shabby, is it?
It's not too shabby. You take care, Johnny.
I'll see you later.
And I end this call, and Phil's on hold. I take him off a hold. Phil, thanks very much. I got to get back to the keynote now.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, this is so cool. This is a collaboration that we've done, which I'll talk more about later. And it allows us to have random access voicemail, go directly to the voicemails we want. So as an example, I come to my voicemail and I say, oh, there's one by Al Gore. I want to hear that one. I just push it.
Hi, Dave, it's Al. Wish I could be there today. I'm here in Nashville training people to give my slideshow. But I wanted to say congratulations on the iPhone. It is unbelievably cool. Good luck with the presentation. Call me later.
Now, if I want to call Al back right now, I can just push that call back button. But I want to listen to one from Tim Cook I've got here, so let me listen to Tim.
Hi, Steve. It's Tim. I've got the results from last quarter. Revenue was, I'll just wait and tell you when I see you in person. Good luck on the keynote. See you there.
Isn't this awesome? And the other thing I can do is I can take any of these pictures and I can make them bigger. And so let me go ahead and get the camera back up. Yeah, there it is right there. I can just take my fingers and we call it the pinch. I can bring them closer together or move them further apart to make it bigger or smaller. And so I can just move them further apart and stretch the image. Isn't that cool? And move it around. Isn't that cool? Now, let's take a look at an internet communications device. It's part of iPhone. So what's this all about? Well, we've got some real breakthroughs here. We wanted the best web browser in the world on our phone, not a baby web browser or a WAP browser, a real web browser. And we picked the best one in the world, Safari. And we have Safari running on iPhone. It is the first fully usable HTML browser on a phone. Third, we have Google Maps. Maps, satellite images, directions, and traffic. This is unbelievable. Wait till you see it. And rather than just give you a WAP version of the New York Times, rather than give you this wrapped version all around, we're showing you the whole New York Times website, and there it is. And guess what I can do? I can just put this into landscape mode, and there it is right there. And I can scroll here if I want. Scroll up and down here. Boom, still loading it in. There we go. Or I can just get back like this. Now, this is really great, and I can see the whole page, but of course I can't read it. It's a little too small. So I can get in with my fingers and pinch it, but we have an optimization here. I can just double tap on anything, and it automatically fills up the screen with it. And I can just scroll around like this and scroll over here, and I can even make this text bigger if I want to. And there it is. Now, you can look at multiple web pages as well. You can have multiple web pages open. So I just push this button in the lower right-hand corner, shrinks it down, and I can add a new page if I want. And I'll go to Amazon here out of my bookmarks. So let's go to Amazon. And I love to go to the DVD section of Amazon and see what DVDs are selling. I like it especially when Disney's are at the top. And so I've got this right here, and I can go back to the New York Times if I want. Let's zoom up to that picture so we can all see it. And again, here. Isn't this cool? Just over there and go back to this one. I can get rid of them just by hitting the X. And there we go. Isn't that incredible? If you've ever used what's called a web browser on a mobile phone, you'll know how incredible this is. I hope you never really know, because it's bad out there today. And this is a revolution of the first order, to really bring the real internet to your phone. Now, to conclude with the internet device section here, I want to show you something truly remarkable, which is Google Maps on iPhone. Starbucks. So I'm going to search for Starbucks, and sure enough, there's all the Starbucks. Now, I can get a list of Starbucks here, so I can pick that one if I want, and I can even go look at that Starbucks, and there it is, and let's give them a call.
Good morning, Starbucks. How can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to order 4,000 lattes to go, please. No, just kidding. Wrong number. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Now, I can zoom in by just, again, pinching if I want to, or I can just double-click to zoom in, and I get just higher and higher resolution versions of the map. So let's go somewhere else here that I've got bookmarked, and let's go to the Washington Monument. And so here is Washington, D.C., and I could just double tap, and I'm going in a little further here, just double tapping in, and there's the Washington Monument there, and I'll double tap in again. And but now I want to show you something else, satellite images. So I just hit this button called satellite down at the bottom, and it's going to replace the map with satellite images. There we go. And I can just double tap in, and double tap in again. And let's catching up to me here. There we go. And let's double tap in again. This is the Washington Monument. There we go. Look at this. You see people down there. Whoops. There we go. Yep. Isn't that incredible? Right on my phone. It's unbelievable. So let's go. I've got another one, the Eiffel Tower, which is very cool. I set this one to be, look at this. There's the Eiffel Tower. There's people at the Eiffel Tower, you can see. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? And here, just one last one I have to show you, the Colosseum in Rome. So again, here we are in Rome. Yeah, that's as far as we can go with the map, but we can go a little further with the satellite. There's the Colosseum. There's the Roman Colosseum. Satellite imagery right on the phone. Look at that. That's the Colosseum. Unbelievable. So, internet communicator, an iPod, and a phone. Let's put them all together and see what you can do in a real-life scenario. So, let's take a look. I want to listen to some music, so I'm going to go into my iPod here, and let's see, in artists, I want to listen to, maybe Red Hot Chili Peppers. I love those guys. And so I'm listening to a song of theirs. And let's see what happens when I get a phone call. Music fades out. Screen changes. I got a phone call coming in. So I can ignore it, but I think I'm going to answer it. So I'll answer it. Howdy. Hi, Phil. Now it knows who Phil is because he's in my address book, so it puts his little picture up here and everything up there. And hi, Phil. Listen, I'm kind of busy right now. What can I do for you?
Oh, I was hoping you were done because there's a photo that you had of Hawaii. I was kind of hoping you could send it to me, and I could use that as my wallpaper.
Okay. Hold on just a sec. So I push the home button here down at the bottom, and I go home right here. And I'm still on the call. You can see the phone thing flashing right there on the lower left. And I go into Photos, and now I'm in Photos. And again, you can see the bar across the top, the green bar. I can just touch that to return to the call. And Phil wants a photo that he wanted to use it for his screensaver. It was one of the ones that was taken in Hawaii. I think it was this one. Yep, there it is. So you want me to mail this to you, Phil?
Oh, that'd be great.
All right, so I just go down here and push this button. And rather than use it as wallpaper, I'm going to email it. And so watch what happens now. It shrinks it a little bit, and then a compose window will come up right behind it. There we go. And I will just tap in the to field and send this to Phil here. Phil Schiller, there we go. And the email's there. Yep, it's there. And I'm just going to send it. Hey, Phil, that should be on its way right now.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Anything else?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping if you're done soon that we could not only get some dinner, but maybe catch a movie tonight. Is there anything you want to see?
Let me go check it out. I've got, I think I've got Fandango on my bookmarks here. And yes, I do. Let's go to Fandango. Figure out what movies are playing.
Just friends. There's nothing personal here.
Yeah.
Gotta go catch a movie. Don't want to read too much into it.
Okay, here's Fandango. Let's just double tap, and here's the movies playing. Yep. How about we go see Night at the Museum? I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, I haven't either. That'd be great.
Great. All righty. Hey, take care, Phil. Now, what I'm going to do is, to go back to my call, I just touched the top here, and I'm back at my call, and I'm just going to go ahead and end the call. And what happens now? Back in my music. So, this is what it's like when you put it all together. iPhone. Today, Apple is reinventing the phone. Now, how does this stack up? Let's go back to these guys. Let's take a look. Well, these are their home screens. And again, as you recall, this is iPhone's home screen. This is what their contacts look like. This is what iPhone's contacts look like. And again, you just pick one and you see everything about that person, all the information you have. This is what mail looks like on these smartphones. Again, this is what mail looks like on iPhone. You have rich HTML, rich text email. This is what calendars look like on these guys. This is what calendars look like on iPhone. This is what the web looks like. And we tried to make it look as good as we could on these. It usually looks worse, and this is what you get. And of course, this is what you get on iPhone, and you can zoom in and see anything you want. And this is what you get for music players. Nobody really uses them much. And this is what you get on iPhone. So, after today, I don't think anyone's going to look at these phones quite the same way again. Battery life. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of these phones, a lot of these smartphones have pretty low battery lives. We've managed to get 5 hours of battery, and that's for talk time or video or browsing. 5 hours of battery life and 16 hours of audio playback. So that's dramatically better than any of these smartphones. There's a tremendous amount of high technology in iPhone. We've been pushing the state of the art in every facet of this design. So let me just talk a little bit about it here. We've got the multi-touch screen, a first. Miniaturization, more than we've ever done before. A lot of custom silicon. Tremendous power management. OS X inside a mobile device. Featherweight precision enclosures. 3 advanced sensors. Desktop class applications. And of course, the widescreen video iPod. We've been innovating like crazy for the last few years on this, and we filed for over 200 patents for all the inventions in iPhone, and we intend to protect them. So, a lot of high technology. I think we're advancing the state of the art in every aspect of this design. So, iPhone is like having your life in your pocket. It's the ultimate digital device. So, let's take a look at this market and how big it is. My clicker's not working. Oh, there it is. Maybe it is working. So how big is this market? Well, let's take a look. No. All righty. Clicker is not working. All right. They're scrambling backstage right now. You know, when I was in high school, Steve Wozniak and I, mostly Steve, made this little device called a TV jammer. And it was this little oscillator that would put out frequencies that would screw up the TV. And Woz would have it in his pocket, and we'd go into like a dorm at Berkeley where he was going to school, and a bunch of folks would be watching like Star Trek, and he'd screw up the TV, and somebody'd go up to fix it, and just as they had their foot off the ground, he'd turn it back on. And if they put their foot back on the ground, he'd screw up the TV again. And within 5 minutes, he'd have somebody like this for the rest of the Star Trek episode. Okay, so maybe it's working now. Maybe they're going to have to click them for me. So game consoles. 26 million game consoles were sold in 2006 worldwide. Actually, a little smaller than you'd think. It's not such a big market. Digital cameras dwarfed it at 94 million. MP3 players, 135 million. And PCs, about 209. Mobile phones, just about 1 billion last year worldwide. So what does this tell you? What this tells you is that 1% market share equals 10 million units. This is a giant market. If you just 1% market share, you're going to sell 10 million phones. And this is exactly what we're going to try to do in 2008, our first full year in the market, is grab 1% market share and go from there. So we're going to enter a very competitive market, a lot of players. We think we're going to have the best product in the world, and we're going to go for it and see if we can get 1% market share, 10 million units in 2008, and go from there. So today, we've added to the Mac and the iPod, we've added Apple TV, and now iPhone. And you know, the Mac is the only one that you really think of as a computer, right? And so we thought about this and we thought, you know, maybe our name should reflect this a little bit more than it does. So we're announcing today, we're dropping the computer from our name, and from this day forward, we're going to be known as Apple Incorporated to reflect the product mix that we have today. You know, I didn't sleep a wink last night, and I was so excited about today because we've been so lucky at Apple. We've had some real revolutionary products. The Mac in 1984 is an experience that those of us that were there will never forget, and I don't think the world will forget it either. The iPod in 2001 changed everything about music, and we're going to do it again with the iPhone in 2007. We're very excited about this. And you know, there's an old Wayne Gretzky quote that I love. I skate to where the puck is going to be, not where it has been. And we've always tried to do that at Apple, since the very, very beginning. And we always will.